She's on the technology team at Nelson-Atkins Museum in Kansas City, Missouri, and she's obviously coming through Skype today to us to present, and she will be speaking about educational technology in art museums and how it is affecting learning. And this is Greg English, and he is an art educator at Reservoir High School, and he will be speaking about his classroom website and his curriculum, which enables his students to graduate with a strong digital portfolio. And I did not introduce myself. I am Caroline. I am the president of the NAEA student chapter here at MyICA, and I was late because I had to work this morning, but I'm here. So with that, we will
So am I on? Is it my?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do I sound ridiculously loud or something? Okay. Oh, that's a camera. Wow. Okay, so hi, I'm Emily, and I'm the digital media educator at the Nelson-Atkins Museum of Art in Kansas City, Missouri. And so if you guys have ever been to the Midwest, you should check out the Nelson. It's pretty awesome. You know, because you guys, I'm sure, come to Missouri all the time. But anyway, so what I'm going, this is my first Skype presentation, by the way. This is, as Matt and I were just discussing, this is like a totally disembodied experience for me right now. But it's kind of, I mean, it's really exciting too. But so I apologize if whatever happens in the next 20 minutes isn't as smooth as like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and to make matters a little bit more complicated,
Before we get started, can I do something to actually record what you're doing on the screen? Because I'm not sure that the camera's getting it.
Sure.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, Matt. Matt and I went to graduate school together, so I'm not just this random girl.
Can we get back to where we were and hopefully this will.
You're supposed to know electrical.
Alright, sorry for the interruption.
Oh, that's okay. No, what I was going to say is that, to make things a little bit more crazy, I guess, I did a Prezi presentation, so, and I overheard someone saying that Prezi makes her feel nauseous, so I hope that I don't make anyone sick. But on also to that end, I'm not entirely, I don't know the scope of what you guys know in terms of technology, so I just wanted to provide just a very basic overview, and I apologize if what I present you already know about. I just wanted to give you a basic overview. So let me try to share my screen. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, this is the Nelson website. If you ever want to visit it online. Okay. Okay. So part of my job as a digital media educator is that I'm interested in how technology is used as an interpretive tool within the art museum as well as online. And something that I just launched at the museum includes a mobile website that repurposes a lot of our audio guide content. But it also is not just kind of an audio guide, it also kind of creates textual, interesting connections with works in our permanent collection, and that's something I'm going to be talking about later in my presentation specifically. So things that I really like, what I really love about my job and about my research is that I constantly ask myself, what will the future of art museums be like? And how will visitor experience change in the next few years with technology? How will mobile technology augment visitor experience? And this is thinking about mobile technology of the tools that visitors bring into the museum. How are museums creating new gallery environments? And this is certainly included within the physical gallery and online. And how do participatory visitor experiences engender or revise the cultural interface of an art museum? And so I guess that particular question really speaks to the rise of user-generated content within the museum and just how that experience really kind of mitigates or manipulates our interpretation of art objects. So something that it's a great tool that I've been currently using is that the folks at the New Media Consortium have recently released their annual Horizon report. And this is a roundup of up-and-coming technologies relevant to museums, archives, and libraries. And I realize that you guys are art educators, you're art students, some of you may be interested in museum education and museums themselves, and so, but this is certainly applicable across all fields. The Horizon reports are really useful. Let me just get that pulled up right here. If you need arsenal to explain the relevance, the utility, or educational value of new technologies in art museums. And their descriptions of technologies are very clear, they're brief, and loaded with awesome links. And something that they do, which I really enjoy, is that they list of what the top things that museums are probably going to adopt in the next year. And so what they've identified is that mobile technology, social media, augmented reality, location-based services, gesture-based community, and semantic web will all be kind of a key component of museums in the future. And it's interesting because really at the Nelson, we've only engaged with these top two. And these two were a struggle, honestly. And it's interesting to think about how museums are really going to be shifting in terms of wanting to touch on these other things that people might be interested in, or visitors might be interested in, to really provide a meaningful experience. And it's interesting how these things, such as augmented reality, using your phones to make new connections, really will create new gallery environments. And so what I wanted to do is provide, and you guys may already be aware of some of these institutions and what they do, but I just wanted to provide you different ways that technology is being used in museums to think about art in entirely different ways. And so at SF MoMA, for example, they have this awesome thing called the Art Scope. And what I really love about it is that it's, in a base term, this is their search for if you want to figure out a permanent collection object. This is a great, this is kind of their search function. But what I really like is that it's using technology to think about their art objects in fields and in a kind of a larger context rather than within movements, within a time period, or within a certain type of category. But obviously you can kind of search like dogs, you can see what comes up, like maybe panda, I don't know if anything comes up. I wish, but no. So anyways, I just think this is just an interesting way that it's a great resource for learning about their collection, but the way in which it's crafted really makes you think about the art in entirely different ways. And then we also see museums using technology as a mode of transparency. So at the IMA, they are certainly the pioneers in terms of technology, and what they have a group at the museum that their aim is to create open source technology that art institutions and cultural institutions can take advantage of. And one of the things they created was this dashboard, and this is just a snapshot view of how many visits they have of kind of the nuts and bolts of the institution. But what it does is it provides a view of the museum that you wouldn't get in the physical environment. If you go to their Interact section, which is like totally filled with all these awesome kind of assets. They're the IMA, the group that started Art Babel, which I'm sure you guys are certainly aware of, but which is kind of like a YouTube for art. But it really creates, what's interesting about their videos is that they create these hypertextual connections with other works in their collection. It also is open to other institutions as well. I think we have a different series. There's the partners, I guess. So these are all the partners, but anyways, it's just the idea of transparency and kind of breaking down the spectacle of an art museum is certainly being addressed, I think, by the IMA and through initiatives like Art Babel. And then we have, this is the intermediate art by the Tate. What I really like about this particular website, it obviously highlights new media projects by the Tate, but it has a really robust website in terms of showing these projects not only within the physical presence but also online. I think often a lot of projects that I work with are how to create a web presence for an exhibition. So we're creating these connections between what's going on in the galleries and online. And I think the Tate was one of the first models to do that. And then the Mattress Factory, they do awesome stuff all the time, but something that I really find of interest is their MF I Confess webcam. It's a channel that they have on YouTube, but this is like a la real world, where you have like your confession of your experience at the Mattress Factory. And although this concept is really simple, having this be a layer within the museum is really interesting in terms of how we conceive of museums, that this initiative really speaks to privileging multiple voices. And the idea of creating this archive really opens up the idea of whose voice is valid within the museum. Which leads us to so traditionally, when especially at the Nelson-Atkins, there's pretty much one voice that you see right away, and that's the curatorial voice within the galleries. You see that's within the labels or didactics, or there's certainly like a sense of an authoritative perspective. But now with social technology and online communities, that's really turned upside down. So now museums are beginning to ask and invite feedback from visitors. They want museums want visitors to add their own opinion and mark. So now it's not just top down of a curator, it's more of this engagement between the visitor, the educator, the conservator, volunteer, teacher, student, and virtual visitor. And this interaction right now is obviously happening online, but in many ways we're trying to bridge that within the physical environment.